Firstly, I want to introduce our proposal for our project. That is a virtual TRON HoloLens, which is it is a virtual reality for conduct laboratory purpose. The principal investigator is me, Muhammad Ashraf bin Zulkupli. These are the number office telephone 0644319511, and my handphone number is already there, 101894749399. My email address is ashrafzul1996 @gmail.com. You can find me there. Our focus research is for Education 4.0. This Education 4.0 is focused to the new inventing, which is supposed to help students to gain knowledge a little bit easy. The duration of this project is 6 months in our plan. That is from 4 October 2021 until the 4 April 2022. Here are my co-researchers. For senior engineer is Muhammad Raziq Afiq bin Anuar. Project engineer is Afiq Hamizan bin Syaharudin. Procurement engineer NurShazni binti Muhammad Sariff. Sales engineer Muhamad Zahim bin Muhamad Sukairi. Our research project that have been complete. This is our reference development of escape room game using VR technology, Google's 3D tilt brush, using virtual reality to enrich the visit at the botanical garden, VR system for the exploitation of underwater archaeological sites. Okay, we continue executive summary of research proposal to Muhammad Raziq Afiq.
Okay, thanks to Muhammad Ashraf. I am Muhammad Raziq Afiq bin Anuar as the second presenter. Okay, I will discuss about two topics. For the first one is executive summary, and the second one is literature review. Okay, for the executive summary, the use of computer technology to create a simulated environment is known as visual reality. Because of the pandemic COVID-19, which has wreaked havoc on the world health system and influenced many facets of life, including schooling. As the WHO recommended educators and students to engage in alternative learning to avoid school closure, instructors turn to internet networks to interact with students. Students benefit from visual reality. The development of online learning environment has increased as a result of disclosure, ensuring that learning is not disrupted. The main goal of this proposal are to use bibliometric analysis to access the potential of visual reality for laboratory practices to improve students' UTM understanding of practical practices inside laboratory due to COVID-19 pandemic, and to develop a VR operating system for education system. Research methodology will cover the flowchart of research activities, literature review on bibliometric study, procurement process, phase 1, create a program outline, program objective and laboratory plan, and phase 2, evaluation and contract, visual development, visual reality development, phase 1 analysis phase, phase 2 creation phase, phase 3 testing phase, phase 4 implementation phase, and the last one is phase 5, which is the operating phase. Okay, visual reality and augmented reality have already made an impact on students in primary schools. Visual reality has many educational benefits, but many instructors are apprehensive to use in their classroom. Among the issues are high cost and opposition from the school administration. Other regard visual reality and augmented reality as entertaining but ineffective instructional tools. Despite these challenges, the use of AR and VR in education is expected to grow in popularity in the coming years. VR produces a completely digital world, allowing users to immerse themselves in a realistic 360-degree immersive experience. Visual reality allows students to engage with what they see. Okay, next is the literature review. For the first one is intro. This literature review will cover information and summarize the visual reality lab on subject maintenance of HVAC system, specifically on lab air compressor, motor maintenance, and checking. This section explains how to obtain and summarize relevant information using a review journal, books, internet tools, articles, and other resources. Next topic, which is the COVID-19. On outbreak of respiratory disease has been given the name of coronavirus disease 2019, which is the COVID-19. The WHO urged educators and students to perform alternate learning to avoid school closure. Educators turn to online networks to communicate with people. Webinars became a makeshift classroom. Parents were summoned for home surveillance, and students were denied social engagement with their classmates. Due to the COVID-19 epidemic, the WHO urged educators and students to perform alternate learning to avoid school closures by releasing a resource list of World Bank assets seems to give some online materials that may be utilized throughout the pandemic. That's all from me. I shall pass this presentation to Muhammad Zahim.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good day to all. My name is Muhammad Zahim bin Muhammad Sukairi. So I will continue this presentation. I will continue in 1.3, which is effect of COVID-19 on students. So COVID-19 has resulted in the closure of educational institutions, and the effect of this closure is that the development of online learning environments has accelerated, ensuring that learning is not interrupted. So for the solution, many universities are interested to find most effective ways to distribute course content online, engage the student, and perform the evaluations. So as a result, COVID-19 has evolved institutions to invest more in online learning. So this may related to point number 1.4, which is virtual reality system in practical practices. So did you know that virtual reality has been used in teaching more than half a century? The earliest reported use of a digital virtual reality system was in 1996 when the United States Air Forces developed a flight simulator for training reasons. So this is reported by Sam et al. 2017. So Singh et al. 2020 reported that the notion of virtual reality was also used in physical rehabilitation instances in the 20th centuries, where it was demonstrated to be a higher quality technique with great efficiency. To summarize my point, virtual reality has been widely used in the practical practices such as air forces and health industry in recent years. So it has been successfully advocated in a variety of disorders. So we go to the objectives. So in this particular study, we want to look at the students who face the problems due to COVID-19 pandemics that can lead to a lack of understanding in practical practice inside lab practices. And of course, the ability to provide technical procedures is getting more difficult because of the presence of COVID-19 pandemics, where this related to the objectives of the study. So the main purpose of this project is to develop virtual reality specifically for lab compressor motor maintenance. So this proposal focuses on to analyze the potential of virtual reality for laboratory practices using bibliometric study. And number two is to enhance the understanding of practical practices inside laboratories amongst the youth time due to COVID-19 pandemics. And finally, the third point is to develop an operating system in virtual reality for the education system. So I will pass this presentation to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and a good day. In the research methodology, this chapter will explain the method used to analyze data to make a virtual reality. Uh, Virtual reality is for laboratory practice using bibliometric study. The methodology for this project includes the literature reviews and experimental procedures so that the objective was achievable. The first methodology is a flowchart. The flowchart is choose an application suitable and easy for bibliometric analysis. Get information from the database. Study a few journals for the virtual reality development. Writing experiment procedure and collecting data. Virtual reality development. For our flowchart is first one we do a literature review. After that we go to collecting data, and then we go to the data analysis. For after the data analysis, we must choose whether the project is approved or not. If the project is not approved, we must go back to the data analysis to do repair for the data. If the project is approved, we can continue to the procurement process. The procurement process, if it procurement process fail, we must go back to the project approval to approve it. Next, after if the procurement project is a success, we can go to the virtual reality development, and then it is finished for the project. For the literature review, many of the data is came from the Scopus database. The database from the bibliometric study. The bibliometric study literature analysis using the Scopus database it can link up with a VOS viewer. In the figure 2.2, we can see the collaboration between the country on the virtual reality. For the figure 2.3, the collaboration between the author on virtual reality in period 2010 until 2020.
Okay, For the next methodology, we continue with procurement process. Firstly, for phase 1, we create a program outline. For program outline, first we need to capture laboratory view, equipment, and laboratory plan to make to give a quotation for the to the contractor to make a tender. So this for table 1, we can see the budget allocated for this side project. There are 3 side project for our VR development, which is coding, design, and virtual reality hardware. So the allocation of this the allocation budget which is for coding is 30,000, designing 25,000, and last virtual reality hardware is 15,000. So for we can see below, which is for figure 3.1, laboratory view, a compressor, and a laboratory plan. So for phase 2, after a few weeks, we get quotation from the contractor, which is they give us the invoice for us evaluate uh, to evaluate the VR development. So we can see there are three there are three quotation that we get, which is from both on engineering, Alice B Colorado Engineering, and MX Core Engineering. This quotation we can see at appendix for more details. Okay, for this VR development, we choose Alice B Colorado Engineering because from the allocation budget, in table 2 we already put the Alice B Colorado Engineering price for the coding, which is 25,000, designing 15,000, and VR hardware is 15,000. So we can see this is more cheaper than the other two quotation. So we continue with the VR reality development. So for VR reality development, we can see that the okay, we can see that the phase of methodology, which is analyze phase, creation phase, testing phase, implementation phase, and lastly operation phase. So for analyze phase, we can see that we need to list down all the equipments, all the activities and objects which is for our VR before before we continue with creation phase. All the NPC, which is idle, walk, and run, laboratory view, laboratory chair view, and others in 3D design. So we can scroll, we can see that laboratory layout and so on. So in creation phase, all the above material, we can see that we need to coding that all the 3D design, which is with the coding, so they all can run with variety. They all can run with all variety script, so that as the result, the 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 virtual reality will follow our coding correctly lah. So for testing phase, which is 4.3, we can see all the coding and the 3D already run correctly. So we testing with VR hardware, which is user will test the coding and the design. We can see that 4.3 and 4.4 pictures that we need to test the coding and see any glitch or any wrong scripted or anything else, so we can we can continue with implementation phase, which is for implementation phase we need to link with our VR hardware itself. Our VR hardware, which is VR treadmill. So VR treadmill is for user to run above it lah. So for VR headgear, we can see lepas tu and then VR controller, and lastly for PC setup, we can see that we need to use processor, the high rating processor, which is Ryzen 5 3600, RAM 16 gig, 16 gig, GPU RTX 2060 Super. So for operation phase, we continue for 4.5. The project is complete and is not complete until the implementation. So the contractor should be able to monitor the VR environment, so that they will collect the data, and they will doing for additional troubleshoots and adjustment after all the defect already been taken. So the project will be given to the contractor, will be give the project, the VR project that they are already done with their software or anything, to project manager, project engineer. Okay, so for we'll continue with other presenter for the Gantt chart and research activity.
Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. My name is NurShazni Sahira binti Sariff, and I will continue to present about our proposal plan activities for this project. So, in this 6 months, we decided to complete our virtual reality for compressor motor maintenance and checking. So the Gantt chart shows in our first month to start this project, we decided to collect and analyze information about virtual reality. Then we developed the proposal, and the proposal need to be approved. After our proposal have been approved, we open the tender for the project. And after that, we will hire them to make the coding, 3D design for VR, and develop the VR hardware, as well as testing. The development and testing will take about 4 months. Other than that, the final corrections for the VR hardware will make in March, and final version will finish on April. Lastly, this project will be complete in April, and the users will be trained in April too. So for the next milestone, we have 9 important things that need to be done according to the Gantt chart. The first one is completion of developing and approving the proposal, completion of opening a tender for the project, completion of coding for VR, and completion of 3D design for VR, completion of developing VR hardware, completion of development and testing, completion of applying final correction, completion of approving the final version, and lastly, the completion of training users. So this is the 9 important things that we need to do to complete our project in 6 months. So next, I will pass to Ashraf to continue the presentation. Thank you.
Hello everyone and good day. For the expected result, there are several uh, theories and findings that we find in our research. As we know, the virtual VR or AR is suitable for the doing practice hands-on, and it is a very usable device. But this device also have several obstacles, which is there are some location that cannot access. that don't have access to internet, and these devices also come with a high price. So there are some locations that are not that cannot afford it. But the in the in this our finding, this discovery also make a huge transformation from the virtual reality concept to the other step. This idea will give a new alternative or new method in education. Perhaps it will be more effective compared to the traditional method. And now we go to our next presenter.
For the budget, I will continue the presentation. For the budget, we can see that for vote 11,000, we are using a temporary accountants, which is RM 1,000 ringgit. For vote 21,000, we use one international conference in Japan, which is for two peoples, uh, 2,500 each. So the total is 5,000, 1,300. So total is 6,500. And lastly, for local workshop in Kuala Lumpur, 5%, 5% is 5,000. Okay, for the vote 24,000, which is for rental, we rent a car, which is 500. Rent a office for 6 months, 2,000, 7,200. And for the rent rent for desktop, which is we rent 3 PC, webcam, green screen, headset, and speaker. Total is 3,000. So for what 24,000, which is rent for store, which is for 6 months, 1,000, 1,800. For vote 27,000, which is for research material and supplies. We need A4 paper for 5 bundle, 10 ringgit each. So the total is 50. AO plan plotter paper, we need one, so 50. Stationery, Wi-Fi router, and storage box. For vote 28,000, for maintenance, we are not doing any. There are no maintenance in our research. For vote 2900, which is for special service, we using English proofreading service for our proposal. Second is lawyer service. Third, uh, third is coding, 3D design, and virtual reality hardware. For the lawyer service, we are using for tender. For vote 3500, special equipment, no. And lastly, for vote 3800, which is for asset, we are using for apps platform developer, which is cost is 4,000. And domain and server is 3500. So the total amount for our research is 95,050 ringgit.
Okay, as a conclusion, this project need to achieve three objectives stated, which is to analyze the potential of virtual reality for laboratory practices using bibliometric study to enhance the understanding of practical practices inside laboratories among UTEP students due to COVID-19 pandemics, and to develop an operating system in VR for education system. We need to complete this project for only 6 months, including to train the users on how to use this VR on compressor motor maintenance and checking. There are many benefits of this VR system for student, which is student can learn about a subject by living it, Students can learn by performing tasks instead of simply reading, and technology such as Tilt Brush increases the opportunity for students to be creative. So that as the VR becomes more relevant, accessible, and beneficial to university setting, lecturer education is also evolving. So that's all from us. Thank you.